Um, I'm not happy doesn't really sum things up. Sitting here working on stuff, kids are in bed. I really should be too, but night shift makes it hard to sleep at night. Um, so I finally got an email message from, uh, sorry, one of my Marines the other day, and wasn't from him. It was from a third party, whoever's reading his emails, and they wanted to verify my Telegram information. So I did, and turns out somebody's been blocking our comms and censoring who can and cannot contact me. Well, anyways, Marine used to be my handler. He was fired. He still maintained contact because we work really damn well together. The person I call the boss man, also equally known as one of the mini J's that I know, decided he wasn't having any of that and pretty much found a way to cut off communication with the two of us, which really sucks because I really do like this guy. Oh well, it is what it is. But they sent him and one of the J's that he's worked with before to another country where they are currently stationed for the foreseeable future. All because technically me. Yeah, I'm a little upset about that. It's people get deployed all the time. It is what it is, but I don't like people being manipulated because of me. It's goes back to threats the program used to make, where they would threaten me with sending my dad to places he wouldn't come back from. So it only upsets me because just really bad memories. He's fine. He's safe. She's safe. They're cool, but pretty much puts me here with no contacts until they decide who they're gonna set me up with next. The current person that they're trying to set me up with as a babysitter used to be a friend of mine. Not having any of it because the way they like their babysitters to work is it's supposed to look like a relationship. I have zero interest in this guy. He's a friend, that's about it. But I know he's being manipulated. Or at least it feels that way. So he's off the table and nobody turns around and friggin' wants to listen to me, of course not. But, this was all brought on with by, sorry. This was brought on because I told the friend that I've been talking to that is with the program that, I was looking to move to Texas if I got a job down there. It's a long shot job, it's one of those dream this would be awesome. The chances of me getting it are pretty much nil. But it was also mentioned that my dad should sell the house and him and a friend of his should buy this piece of property in Virginia, set up their own campground, and I could run it with them, which Dad was like, if I sell the house, do you want to move? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I really don't have a reason to be here, not since Mom's been gone. But, anyways. The communications were brought on because I wanted to leave. Pretty much, I've been told to cooperate, and then I'm supposed to stay here. Pretty much, it was a demonstration of we can get to your people regardless of who they are. And a reminder that no matter how free I think I am, I'm not. To me, that's more upsetting than anything. It's the realization and the understanding, and I've known this for a while, that my friends and family can be used against me. That if I make moves in directions that they don't like, that they can get to my friends and cause things to make me change gears. If you ever wonder why I have a hard time forming relationships with people, this is why. Because I don't like getting close to people when it could possibly mean that they could be used against me. It's a hard sell. And honestly, that doesn't even bother me that much. The worst part about that is I'm not really an extrovert. Not really an introvert. I don't like being isolated. I don't like being alone. I do better when I have a few close people that I can rely on and talk to and chill with, which had become the team, which they aren't here anymore. And I'm not talking they were reassigned. I'm talking they were killed on KIA. That one's hard too. But anyways, back to there's a lot of things that don't bother me, but what does bother me is knowing that I have zero control over my future, what I do, where I go, what I'm allowed to do. Pretty much I'm a bird in a gilded cage. I can go visit family in other states, but I can't stay. I can pretty much, it seems like I have freedom of movement to an extent. I can go to the beach, I can go to the mountains, I can go on vacation, I can go places, but I can't move and relocate. Pretty much when me and the Marine first ran into each other, whether it was dictated by somebody else or fate, when everything started going on and I talked him into having a conversation with Jay. Yes, Jay. It was me that talked him into having that conversation with you. Tried to tell you I can control my guys. He was told, actually that wasn't, after his meeting with Jay, they went and did some stuff for Jay. Mainly, it was in conjunction with me. That was before they started working with Jay. It was right after they lost 2 teams. My guys and another team. That upsets me because here I am, supposed to be helping these people, and somebody cut off our communications, and I couldn't talk to them, and I had to go through some back channels and do some sketchy stuff, and was able to get them some information that ended up getting 2 of them thrown in the brig. The way I was told the story, 2 of them got thrown in the brig. I pretty much blew cover and got them out, but whatever. It was more important that I got them the information that I had, and it still didn't help. I got reamed pretty hard for that, but I saved a few of them. Oh, pretty much I had seen the group on this op going after somebody that I know well. I knew it was a proxy. I knew it was a trap. I knew they were being watched. And I knew they were all going to die. Every last one of them. So I did what I could. They tried to cover for me. And they were able to an extent, but it got Jay involved, and that's how they ended up meeting Jay. And, 2 of the guys, my handler and one of his friends, got thrown in the brig for disobeying orders. One of the other guys was going to be sent out with the rest of the teams. They were getting ready to leave. He was, according to him, according to T, he was in the Porta-John taking a shit. Excuse the language, but that's what he said. When all of a sudden there was an explosion and he woke up 50 yards from the porta potties. And the way he tells it is freaking hilarious. But he woke up with his pants down around his ankles, covered in shit. And ran over to Carnage. And they got a bunch of guys out. But 13 people died. Of course, as always, this stuff's covered up. And it was because no one would listen. But that led to Jay wanting a meeting with us, and I talked him into it. You're welcome. And at that point in time, S was finally read in on me and some of the stuff that I'm capable of, and was allowed access to my files, which he did confirm was exactly the way that I told him that it was going to be, and was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was 4 inches thick, with details about my friends, my family, everything about me. Yeah, the details on it are deranged. And the more the babysitters learn, the more that gets added to it. Which is crazy when you turn around and meet a guy who knows all your likes and dislikes before you ever get to know each other. But that's the details in my files. They get that much on me. He was allowed 5 minutes with my file, and he just... won't tell me shit. He tells me bits and pieces, but he won't tell me anything. You know, because of course if it's classified, you know, I'm a civilian that technically doesn't work for anybody. At that point in time, he was also introduced to C, and I only refer to them by, technically these are their call signs, and I only use the first a letter, not always the first letter, in their call sign, because I don't want that information out there. It's just a protective measure for them, because I do appreciate the work that they do and what they do to try and keep me safe, and I don't want to do anything to compromise them. literally. They've tried to get me to throw people under buses before, and it's kind of funny. But he was introduced to C. C was introduced to me as, the way he explained it, the way C verified who the hell he was to S was he was supposed to ask me about horse. There is a video on horse. But when Jay puts his foot down, Jay puts his foot down. And apparently they have something planned. I don't know. Nobody will give anybody the information, and it is so compartmentalized that I can't even find access to it. When something happens, they send errand boys that have been sent via memo from other people's memos, from other people's memos, from other people's memos, from an email, from an anonymous source, to the point where I can't track them down, and I really think DJW would even have a problem tracking them down, which is kind of funny because he's not exactly friendly. I would consider him an enemy combatant, but they all claim that he's dead. So, dude's not dead, dude. He's still around, and I'm pretty sure he's now currently working for our government. Either that, or... Yeah, only information I have on that is from him, and he's a liar and likes to try and play me anyway, so... I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, which wouldn't be very far to begin with. But... just... I'm upset. I'm a little bit angry. Because I've become friends with this person, and I don't make friends easy. And when I make friends, you're a friend for life. I would do anything for you, kind of thing. And, you know, this is what happens to my friends. And then on top of that, it's no matter what decision I try to make or what step I take forward, that's the more upsetting thing, is it will always be dictated by someone else. Always. No one will read me in on anything. Nobody will talk to me. Nobody will have a conversation with me about any of this. Flying blind in the dark. Looking at bits and pieces of things that I can shine a flashlight on, hoping to find an answer, and I can't find one. And from somebody that's used to knowing, it's used to being able to figure something out and know what tomorrow comes, to the point where I know what's going to happen on a vacation that I didn't even plan. It's disturbing. And I used to think, you know, why don't people just disappear if the government has that control? And they figured out ways that I can't. And I hate it. And it sucks. And the worst part about it is it's all conspiracy, so it all looks crazy. It all sounds nuts. I know it sounds nuts. How would the government take a stupid guest service representative as a single mom at this point and try to manipulate them? Doesn't make sense. Why would it work? Well, at least for the meantime, they've quit fucking around with doing random shit in the house. Haven't found anything random yet. But I made it very clear that I wasn't okay with that. But what are you gonna do? The only thing forward that I have at the moment is a new job's come up on base that I'd like to apply for, but I'm not a high enough GS, so I doubt I'll get it. So I'll still be stuck with the cat at work. He's not a bad person for the most part. He's a bit of a perfectionist, and he doesn't handle us well. It'd be kind of fun to have somebody push all this in his face, but whatever. So I'm gonna try to apply for this other job. Like I said, I doubt I get it. At least it's still on base. It should keep everybody happy that I'm not leaving. More hours, better pay. Whatever. Yeah, I'm upset. Yeah, I'm angry. Got to talk to my Marine that one night. And there's a couple of questions I want to ask him, which I really wasn't allowed to. And I still haven't got a response, which makes me think that our comm's been cut off again. But this is how it's supposed to work. Him, J, and C are probably the only ones that can fill in the blanks from Tour Home. And I really want to fill in the blanks from Tour Home. I was forewarned that it is very possible that we were potentially drugged, and that's why I don't remember, which would make sense. I can't take certain medications because I won't remember shit while taking them. So, go figure. It's also why I don't drink. I don't like alcohol, because the way it makes me feel, and I don't like that feeling, and I don't know why I don't like that feeling. So, it would make sense, but I don't have any recollection of that, so I can't say one way or other. But I want to ask him a couple questions. If I can ask him those couple questions, I'd be happy. Well, not really happy. It would give a little bit more clarity to the whole stupid ass situation, and I'm trying to be okay with this idea that somebody else pretty much runs my life. And the fun thing about us is, and the reason why I tell everything, or try to tell everything as a story, or try to make it look like a story, or I write stories, is because that's the way we were taught. I was taught that if it looks like something else, then it could possibly be something else, and they can brush it off as that something else instead of what it actually is. So anytime I start talking about seeing things other people don't, it's because I really see things other people don't. It might not have anything to do with what or who I am, but it has to do with all the training that we had when we were in school, where you learn how to make something it isn't. You learn how to turn conversations, you learn how to turn stories, you learn how to turn numbers into looking like a different set of facts than what the actual facts are. It's still facts, but then it looks like something else. I don't know, it's like everything that happens around here. I have pets and children for a reason. Because you find the pins laying all over the house, you can blame it on the kids. You find something laying in the floor, you can blame it on the cats. You find something not in its place, you can blame it on the kids or the animals. You know, it's it's very easy to tell somebody, well, maybe you accidentally put that down in the wrong place. Well, maybe you did this and you don't remember. Those are lines that I was taught to tell people. These are lines that I've been told in an attempt to control the story. They're facts, but they can look like other facts. Like, oh, that stack of piles is shifted 6 inches to the right. You must have done it and not realized you did it. Or, oh, there's a bunch of pens sitting on the counter. You must have done it and not known you'd done it. Or the lights are on in the SUV. Oh, you must have hit the button on accident and not noticed. The lid's open on the trash can. The wind must have done it. An animal got into it. It's not what you think it is. There's not people in your house. There's not somebody messing with you. It's just, you must have forgot. It was the animals. It was the children. This is how it works. This is how they manipulate people. You can take, I talk about it often, where, I went to a liberal arts college. I was a business major. Mostly international business and equine business. But the big bulk of it was we learned how to run corporations. And not just run corporations, but take down corporations and do hostile takeovers. One of the classes that I took, because it was a requirement, was statistics. And not just any statistics. It was statistics for use in business and information settings. Where you take, say, you're doing a study for a new heart medication, and the study requires you to have 1,000 people with no major adverse effects. So you would hire 1,500 for the study. There would be 1,500 people in that study, and they'll tell you, oh, it's because people drop out and people get sick and blah 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 and this, that, and the other. No, that's part of the truth. But you don't need an extra 500 people to account for that. What it is you now have 1,500 people, but you only need 1,000 people for this study. So if you have 300 people that have adverse effects, you can drop them from the study. And pick and choose which ones you want to include in your study. You still met the minimums of your requirements for approval, but you're the one, you manipulate the data in order to get the approval. Same thing with business, where we do a demographic study on, this is the buying habits of this group of people. But if you only need 500 people, you hire 800, and anybody that falls outside the line of, you need this section of information to line up with this set of data in order to get approval, then you drop anybody that doesn't meet within your data set. There is even a very specific pattern that you use to do this, so that you can cherry pick everything to make them all set within it, and then they call them outliers. Your outliers that don't fit with the data that you want, you usually drop. And yes, you will occasionally have stray outliers that just don't fit for whatever reason or another. And it might be like 1 or 2 points out of a set of 200 bits of information. 200 people. It's easier to do people. There's 200 people. You will always end up with 1 or 2 that just don't quite fit. And that's normal. Those data points you would just kind of ignore. But when it comes to certain aspects like medications and drugs, you have to record all that information in order to submit it for approval. And you have a couple different people that aren't fitting within the correct data set. They won't take just dropping it as an answer. You have to have so many points within your data set correct, or you fail. It's considered a failure. So you drop what isn't there, and it looks like everything's correct. Business, industry, government, politics, surveys. There's a very specific reason that when somebody calls you randomly for a survey, they ask you your affiliation or this, that, and the other, because they don't want to speak to certain groups of people because they will not fit into their data set. So they won't survey you. Or they'll do the survey anyways and then immediately drop you from the data points. It's a regular occurrence, and it's how you manipulate the numbers. Are the numbers wrong? No, the numbers aren't wrong. They're still factual, but it's not the entire picture. It is a set, very small set, and that is what everybody looks at. And this is what the world trains you to do, is to look at a very specific set of information. They want you to look here and not all the way out. They only want to see you to see me in the screen and not... There's a turtle behind me. Or that I look like a freaking elephant sitting in this chair. They don't want you to see what else is going on. Like, I'm sitting at a table covered in stuff and pins because I just got new pins because somebody took all mine. Bring back my pins. So it's still facts. This is where your guys' fact checkers come in. It's still fact, but it's only a small portion of the fact. It's not the whole set of facts. So yes, it is truthful, but it's not the truth. If that makes any sense whatsoever. It's like telling you Floof is black, but he's not just black. He's black and white. Is it false that he's black? No, it's not false that he's black. He is a black and white cat. But it's not the whole truth. It's not the whole picture. And it's like saying, oh, Marshmallow's white. Marshmallow's gray and white. It's still the truth, but it's not the whole truth. It's not complete. It's not the entire data set. They've been doing this for you guys for a while, and it's how they're able to keep people like me in check, is because they can go, that stuff doesn't happen. That's wrong. She's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. It's not the facts. Thing is, it's still the facts. It's just not the facts that you want the world to accept. So, trying to put logic to this thing that I'm having to deal with, and got into the whole topic of stats and facts. But the illusion of something is one thing and not something else. It's sleight of hand. It's what it is. You know, it's like telling everybody, I started working on the base because I couldn't get a job anywhere else because every time somebody ran my background check, it was flagged by DIA and Homeland Security. Well, the base, they do it, but because it's going through the DoD system, through somebody that knows who I am and knows what I'm doing, it's not flagged, so I get hired. It's one of those things. Saying I couldn't get hired is truth, but at the same time, they're like, oh look, she got a job. She's making it up. This didn't happen. Yeah, that's true, but it's not true. I got a job where you pretty much let me get a job, and then I started complaining, and these other jobs come available, which, you can still put off as, oh, this typical, we hire for this, blah, 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 whatever, but still weird timing, buddy. Be nice if not a high enough GS to apply for half this stuff, but we'll try anyways and see what happens. But that's what they do. It's how they, it really is how they control and manipulate people. So they let you look at just the screen and you can't see everything else around you. It's just like, oh, they're like, oh, that conspiracy theorist turned around and took back what he said, but all you see is what's in front of the TV and not the guy standing in the corner with a gun. I promise there's not. It's like if something shows up on that video, I'm gonna like freak out. No, nobody over there either. But that's how it works. You know, it's, you got everybody thinks it's conspiracy with the, you know, if you know the Clintons, you're going to end up dead. If you know, there are literally people out there, that's their job, is to make people disappear. It's not just a story, it's not just a movie, it's not just a theory, it happens. And one of the things I was told at one point in time is, we can make it look like an accident. Yeah. Sleight of hand, people. It's not just social media, it's our entire lives at this point. We're all being manipulated and curtailed to do what they want us to do. There are groups of people trying to fix that. It's not in our entire government, but it's the good portion of it. If you ask me, I will flat out tell you everything's split in two, down to our military. I don't always know who's on what side. That's the hard part. Especially when you're dealing with certain groups whose their entire job is to lie. So I'm like, I know you're lying, but I don't know about what, and I don't know about why. Because I'm not sure where you fit into all this. But, you know, they don't want to tell me stuff because they're not sure who I am, because they've not read in on me. They just, I'm an asset. I'm a target. That's what they get told. They don't know what I do or who I am. I got called a keeper the other day, and that was fun. But, oh god, the dog farted. Ew. But that's what they do. These guys, gals, they get assigned their targets. They have no idea who they are. They have no information about them other than that they're told that they're a threat to the United States. They're terrorists, blah, 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 this, that, or the other. They're given a reason that justifies what they're getting ready to do, and they make it look like an accident. It's not just CIA, FBI, and anybody else that you want to put an alphabet letter to. It's also special forces, it's our military, it's whoever. There's more to it than everybody realizes. Watch some movies, people. Seriously, read a book. Oh, excuse me. But just because you see something doesn't make it the whole truth. You see a 10-second video of something and you don't know what happened prior to that. You don't know what happened after that. You don't know what led up to what happened in that video. Take example when the kid beats the shit out of somebody else. I'm not talking about all of them. So don't get weird with me, and don't try to yell at me about this. But you don't realize, you don't know whether or not that kid that beat the hell out of somebody had been bullied for weeks, or months, or even years before he finally snapped and went after the person that was doing the bullying. Or somebody did something to him and he snapped and went off on them because he just couldn't take it anymore, or she couldn't take it anymore. I have put people in lockers before. That was fun. I have laid people out on the ground before. No, I've never been in trouble for it. The teachers just kind of walked away because they knew the kid deserved it, and they just, their hands were tied. Mine weren't. The thing is you don't know the whole story. You're getting what's within the screen, what's in your purview. We put these blinders on because we are trained from the time we are little to look in a certain direction and do a certain thing. and, we're claimed it's for this, that, and the other. This is what's socially acceptable. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what's right. This is what's wrong. And they create this construct around you that this is what you're supposed to do. And that's how everybody is reacting right now, is this is what's socially acceptable. This is what's society. This is what's expected of. If we don't fight back, they're going to kill us because they want us dead. Or, let's separate ourselves from this group of people because, we have to be above them, so we need our own space. I'm sorry, guys, but you just created your own segregation all over again. You turned around and created your own fear and rationale over something that's not happening. Yes, there are people that are so heated and hated against certain groups that they will say they want them dead. Now, whether or not they act upon that is something different. But that's not the entire picture. That's not the entire group. Just like I keep trying to explain, this is not the entire group. And like I always try to tell everybody and explain in all my videos, everything is connected. Everything is part of the universal energy. And we can either continue to add to the issues, or we can try and make them better. Well, don't hate people for who they are, even if you don't agree with who they are. You have to look at the bigger picture. Why is it happening? Not just what is happening. It's people talk about it all the time, and I don't know what I can say and not say without getting in trouble, but the pew pew training, that you have to be able to remove yourself from the situation and analyze the situation and not just react to the situation. And everybody needs to start doing that. You need to remove yourself from the situation. You need to think about the situation. You need to find out what's going on. What is the bigger picture? What is the bigger scope? And there's a lot of people that are going, well, I see the bigger picture. I understand this, that, and the other. And I'm going, but that's still not the whole picture. You're seeing, instead of seeing the screen directly in front of you where I'm in frame, you're seeing the fish tank behind me too, with the turtle in it. But you're still not seeing the entire room. And a lot of people are getting really caught up in these things, and they need to step further back. They need to step further out. They need to pay more attention, because it's not the whole thing. It's just like when I hint at things, it's because there's something specific that I need to hint at. There's something specific that I need somebody to think about, and it's not always meant for certain people. The person that's meant to will always end up in their hands. But it's not the whole picture. It's a small glimpse. There's no way I can get you to see the whole picture, because it's still constantly getting bigger and unfolding and being weird. Timey-wimey, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Doctor Who references. But we're all being played. You're being played in your own way. I'm being played in my own way. And while I'm upset, it's not just me. There are other people out there that have it way worse than I do. Luckily for me, somebody thinks I'm valuable. One of these days, I might actually be privileged to a conversation on what exactly that is. I know, but I'm not going to say it, because I don't want anybody else other than DW and his pain in the ass, and somebody who I was told never to mention his name, because they don't like him anywhere in any circle. And mainly because, yeah, different story. Different things that haven't happened yet. Yeah. You have to see the bigger picture. You have to look beyond what is just outside the field of view. More of it's connected than people realizes. It's all part of the thing. I don't usually refer to the NWO as the NWO, but that's what everybody knows them as. I've always addressed them as the council. The council was created supposedly for something good, because no one individual was ever supposed to hold all power. But just like the saying always goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And instead of staying in their lane and doing what they're supposed to do and intended to do for the greater good, they got power hungry and they want to control everything. There's been lots of people for a very long time that have believed that they need to no longer exist and they need to be taken down, but when you're woven into the fabric of existence, it's not an easy feat. You guys want to concentrate on the illegitimate presidency, you want to concentrate on Trump being reelected, great, but there's way more going on, and honestly, I like Trump, but I don't like him that much, and I still think there's other powers manipulating even him. But that's honestly just me. That's not known. It's just a question. Conversations with people help. Yeah, people don't like talking to me because we get into deep conversations and either they start talking and they can't stop. I don't know why it just does. Or I start putting puzzle pieces together with things that I've seen that I don't know or understand. When I have conversations with certain groups of people, it starts making certain things make sense. Because like I said, just because I put something out there doesn't mean it was meant for me or everybody. It was meant for somebody or someone's in particular. The same thing happens when I see things and I'm working with groups. The information doesn't make sense to me, but it makes sense to somebody else. So sometimes I'll say something and even the guys are like, that's freaking random. Why the hell is that? And later on it makes sense to them. Once they're in that situation, in the middle of it, they're like, oh, holy shit. So they've learned to pay attention to me. That's why I hate it when you guys try to put me with new people. Because they have to learn me, and I have to learn them. That's a whole different subject. But yeah, it sucks. I'm not happy. I'll be fine after a while. Talking about it helps. They don't like me talking about stuff. This one gets people in trouble. Just as a reminder, I don't talk about anything that is classified or even remotely sensitive. Everything I talk about is readily available information, or should be. I don't know everybody's name on the team, or the two teams. I don't know where. I don't have an exact date. Actually, I have it written down in my stuff that I have in a safe place so that nobody can get it. All I have is code names. I don't have their names. And yeah, I barely knew them, but it still fucking sucks. Not just because I feel like I lost them, but because I can feel the pain of the people that are still here and how much it hurt to lose all of them. And there was a lot of guilt from the other guys of why didn't they die too. I got a lot of fallout and a lot of backlash out of that. Out of why did I do what I did, and my simple answer was either dead or no dead. Either way, the mission was going to fail. Yeah. They say they took out the target, which that target was DW. That is not the name he is known by with anyone but me. That's just what I started calling him because it fits and he knows what I mean. I do know his call sign. I will not tell anybody that. I don't care who you are. They took out a proxy and not him. or he was replaced by somebody that's absolutely like him. So that's the only thing that I'm not sure anybody can verify on what I'm talking about, because I don't know if they ran it as they were killed by an IED, or if they were killed in a missile attack, or what. But there was an explosion. We lost 13. So literally everything I say can be verified in one form or another through fairly normal channels. Nothing is sensitive. There is nothing ongoing with anything that I share. So when you hear me preach about mind your P's and Q's when it comes to sensitive information, like telling people when troops are coming back, if you're a military spouse or kid, or talking about when people are deploying, or, what base you're going to and when, that's information you shouldn't be sharing. You really shouldn't. It's operational security. It's at risk. Don't talk about shit. I hate to say it, but I found the Pentagon Leak kind of entertaining, mainly because the abject failure and what was leaked. It's not funny to the people that lost it. It is kind of funny to me because it kind of verifies some of the stuff that I've been saying for a year now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You just watch your purview. See the bigger picture. I am okay. I am safe. I am watched. I am protected, whether I like it or not. Again, the only thing I can figure out why is because the program I used to be in, and they still think that I'm useful, but, after doing stuff off, it's all off the books. There's no paperwork on me whatsoever other than I work for the government in a hotel. There's nothing I talk about is sensitive or anything close. Like I said, everything I talk about can be verified if you actually look. Just be careful with what information you do get, because it's just, like I said, it's a piece of the picture and not the entire picture. Anyways, I've been on here way too long. Y'all have a fantastic night. I am going to attempt to lay down and try to go to sleep, but I usually can't sleep until 3, and then we got to get the kids up about 6:30 and get them ready for school. Yeah, fun night. I'm usually cranky on these days. I don't know anymore. I'm gonna have to figure out something, because I feel stuck, and I don't want to feel stuck, and I don't like feeling stuck, and it's driving me mad. It's probably part of the reason why I want to pack up the kids and travel for a year, is because I feel stuck and trapped. Other than, I'd really like to go see all the national parks and travel and visit all the national parks with the kids and homeschool for like a year. So that's still the plan, and somebody can fucking bite me. I'm not sure what they'll try to retaliate against that, since that's still the plan. I guess we'll find out. But I keep making the suggestion of, hey, you really want to set me up on another babysitter? It's really simple to do. Yeah, send them over. You go, hey, you want to go grab some lunch, dinner, whatever? Go hit up a movie. Cool, dude. We like each other. At least we semi-get along. I'd like to semi-get along with my babysitters. And then introduce yourself. Because I'm tired of being the one that turns around and goes, oh, so am I your new assignment? Just introduce yourself. Be open, upfront with me on who the hell you are and why you're here. And we won't have any problems. And you might find me a bit more cooperative. You want to assign me a new babysitter? Sure, not a problem. I'll even let him pack up in the camper with us and go with us. I'm not that hard to get along with if you quit trying to manipulate me. Plain and simple. I guess that's it. My phone's getting ready to die. So, later, Gators. Don't be paranoid. Don't be weird. Whatever. Have a nice day.